right, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for coming by. This is Chris, and I want to thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. We're doing a beautiful lighthouse on this tutorial. We're going to cover the glazing technique, a beautiful technique that many professional watercolor artists use. So we'll kind of go over it in detail here for you so you can kind of see how it works with your paints and your brushes and your paper and your techniques that you currently use. You're an artist, you're working with your own techniques, you know, whatever you've learned from your experiences. So we're going to kind of just step into this type of a situation where we're going to kind of cover the glazing technique. Maybe you already use this technique and you're going to be really comfortable with it, or maybe you don't really use this technique too much. So we'll cover how we do the glazing technique here on my channel. I use this technique all the time, and you're going to have a lot of fun doing this. So stick right here. We're going to do a beautiful lighthouse here, and you're going to just see the real beauty of watercolor here. We're going to use tons of water, tons of paint. We're going to cover the whole sheet of paper with water first, and then cover it with beautiful washes of purple and blue and gold and orange. And then we're going to go over with a second glazing, which is our darker darks, which you'll see in the roof, in the lighthouse, in the hills. So stick with us here. We're going to have a fun time, and we'll get started in just a second. Okay? All right, so we'll be right back. All right, we just saw the finished painting, everybody, and now we're going to get right back into it here, and we're going to kind of discuss how we're going to do this. So the first thing is, you're going to notice I really have a simple brush setup here. So my brushes are very simple here. We're just using flat brushes, basically, you know, the kind of like our Princeton Art and Brush Company brush set that we bought in a small package for like $10. And there's like 3 different flat brushes with that set. And then a couple round brushes too as well. Here's another round brush in that set. So when you buy the Princeton Art and Brush Company synthetic watercolor brush set, you're going to have lots of good size brushes for your paintings. I'm not so sure this 1-inch flat brush comes with the set, but these 3 do for certain. So you'll see that you have a good range of options here with sizes for flat brushes and also a round brush. And then you have we're using a Prang Oval 16 watercolor set here, which comes with this brush right here, which is a good round brush, which can get some fine details. So you have that. And then I use my Simmons, Simply Simmons, number, I think it's a number 8, round brush, synthetic. So we have that too. So that's our brushes. And then we just did a simple sketch here. So I just want to kind of discuss our sketch here. Basically, it's just a simple kind of a house, like a farmhouse type setup here with like a simple 2-dimensional drawing. There's no really any 3-dimensional angles that are going to give you a problem. So basically you're doing like a rectangle here, and then a rectangle for the roof, and then a triangle over here for this shape of this gable on this side of the house here, and then some squares and rectangles for your windows. That's not a problem right there. You can kind of see, pretty simple. And then this here just goes up on a slight angle here. This is like a breezeway inside from the house over to the lighthouse. It's like a space that the person that works at the lighthouse, they can live in this house, and if they have to go in and control the lighthouse and control the lights and put out warnings for sailors and things like that, they know what to do. They can go into the lighthouse and go up inside the lighthouse and adjust the lighting and make sure that the light is all set up for the different storms that might be coming in. They have different signals that they push out with their light on top of the lighthouse, the different strobe lights that go out from the top of the lighthouse. Different pulses of light denote different types of storms that might be happening in the seas in the area. So that's the person that lives in this house. They control the lighthouse. They go in, they do their thing. And so this is pretty much basic, right? We have the house, and then this slight angle upwards and then over, and then we have our lighthouse here. And there's a small barn down here on the bottom of this scene here. And that's basically your sketch. Nothing too fancy. Some hills here. So I started off about a little below halfway with this line here. So I just measured the halfway point on the paper, 10.5 equals 5.25 inches. So that's 5.25 inches here. That's the halfway point, and I went a little bit below halfway for the start of my hills here. And that's all you have to really know for that to start out your drawing. So I think your drawing can go really well, and you can kind of see that the drawing is, we have a good size here of the house and the lighthouse. So you'll see it's not very small. It's, appropriate for the size of paper we have here. So we're not going huge with our structures. We're kind of leaving it middle of the road with the sizes of our structures. Our lighthouse and our house here next to the lighthouse, sort of like a nice medium size, nice range of size of our subject matter compared to our whole entire painting. So we're not going too small where these are really, really small, or we're not going too large where it might be not giving us enough room for some beautiful sky washes and the grounds and the land and the grass and the hills here along the shore and the rocks. So this is perfect size here. Right here looks good. That looks fine. So now what we do is, once we get our sketch done, and again, I just simply did my drawing with a contour drawing just like this. I went around like that, and then down this way, and then across here, and across there, and then up this way and across, and then I did my angled line here, which is a vertical line on a little bit of an angle, because it's the lighthouse, has a bit of an angle this way, not quite straight vertical, but it's got a slight angle this way and a slight angle this way. So I get my lighthouse with a little bit of those angles and the top of the lighthouse, and this is the catwalk here up top with the railings, and you can kind of see those have a little bit of a slight curve to them. And same thing with the top of the lighthouse. A slight curve to the top of the lighthouse there. So pretty much straightforward with our drawing. And then we have our paints. We have them prepped. I took some spritzer bottle and I spritzed the paints about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, as I was starting to do my drawing. And now we're all set. We're going to paint next. And so I'm going to take a quick break. And once we come back, we're going to start mixing our washes. And we're going to get a beautiful glazing across the whole painting. So this is the key here. Now we're going to use the glazing technique, which you hear me talk about often on my watercolor channel here. Glazing technique is actually a really fantastic technique. Really, a lot of professional watercolor artists use the glazing technique. And there's a good reason why. You really get beautiful results from it. So never underestimate your glazing techniques. You need to, along with myself, I practice my glazing technique all the time. I think you should too. So let's cover that next. We have our sketch done now, our drawing done. Let's come back. We'll cover the glazing technique in detail so you can kind of see what we're going to do here. Okay? All right. So I'll be right back. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Ooh, we're back. All right. We're back here. We're back and we're in business here. We're doing a good job. We're going to do our glazing technique. So now with the glazing technique, you have to remember that a lot of great professional artists use the glazing technique. So when you're doing this type of technique, you're going to kind of know that you're in good, standing with a lot of the top professionals these days that do this type of watercolor painting. So what I'll do is since we have a really large you know, this is a pretty good size paper. This is like maybe a 10 by 12. Give me a second here. Let me just make sure I have the right measurement here. So this is a 10 by 13, approximately 10 by 14. So what I'll do is I want to use a larger flat brush, and this is the 1-inch Princeton and Art Brush Company synthetic watercolor brush. So this is a good large size flat brush that you can get a whole beautiful crystal clear wash of clean water across the whole page. And then once you do that, we'll be able to add some gorgeous first washes to this, a first glazing. So we're going to do a first glazing of a light tonal value, a light wash over the whole painting. So to do that, let's do this. Let's first start and mix some colors so that we have purple and then blue and then orange mixed in with a little bit of that blue. Orange over here, some more orange. And then some green up here for the grass and things, and then some brown mixed with the green, like that. Some green, so we have some green and brown, and some orange, green, brown, orange for our grasses. And then we have again some purple mixed in there. And then here we have our blue for our sky wash. And then we have orange here. And that's going to be toward the horizon line. Okay, so now we have a great, I'm going to change my water. Add some more fresh, clean water. So I want crystal clear water to start with. So let me do that. Fresh, clean water. And then let's just do this. Let's do the whole paper like this with clean, fresh water. I'm just going to go right across, dampening the whole paper with clean water, fresh, clean water, crystal clear water. And this is going to give us the base for our painting. And there you go. The whole paper, you cover it with fresh, clean water. Then up top, you might add a little more extra water, just up top, on the top portion of the painting. This way you can kind of flow some of that wash down onto the painting. So I'm adding a little extra water up top. We have our colors already mixed here, which is our benefit. You mix first your colors so that you're all ready to go, and then now we'll just start going in and getting our colors in. And you can also improv and do some like this. Improv, get some colors in there up top. I like to do the whole entire top of that sky there. A little bit of brown and blue and purple, like that. Okay, then let's do a little bit of this blue here. Mix that in there. Get some water in there, like this. And just let it all flow on down. I'm going to go around the lighthouse, since the lighthouse is kind of light. Roof is kind of dark, so we can let that go. Okay, now brown, blue, purple, blue. Let's do a little bit of this here, just to get some dark up there, like that. Okay. And we add some water to it too, just to kind of let it flow on down. Then what we'll do is, now we're going to get some green here. to just get our first washes on the grass areas, like this. And you can kind of see how I'm doing this. I'm using a lot of water. Okay. And then I'm going to also add some green over here, just so we can harmonize the colors in the sky with the ground. So we have greens. So we add a little bit of green to the sky, not too much, but you have time now to add a little bit of that green up here in the sky. And that's good. Then you grab a tissue or a paper towel. You grab a tissue or paper towel if things are flooding around the water, and you just blot up the water. Like that. And then maybe we lift up some lights here for our lighthouse. And also too for our house here. I think our house needs a little bit of a lighter bit. And then as you do that, you just get your brush again and you kind of okay. So you can see what we did here. We basically blotted up any puddles of water that were too much. Then we rinse off our brush, take water off on the sponge. And I'm going to blot up some of this too. So you can use a tissue or some paper towel just to kind of blot up some areas that you want to preserve with a little bit of a lighter tonal value. So you can kind of see how I did that. Okay, so that is really all there is to it. The rest of the washes are all set, looking good. The roof's going to be dark, so we don't have to worry about that. We'll leave the dark washes flowing on down. And that's fine there. Okay, so that's how we do it for our first glazing, our first wash. For our lighthouse here, tons of water. Use your tissues and your paper towels to blot up some paint as you need to. You saw that I blotted up my house, my lighthouse, and that little corridor that goes across here. It's like a breezeway inside here. So I wanted to make that a little bit lighter, so I just lifted up that paint off there with a paper towel carefully. And that's all I did. And we are set. Now, the most important part here is you have to let this dry 100%. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this painting and say to ourselves, we're doing the glazing technique, our first wash, which is kind of a lighter wash. We have to let it dry 100%. So you can do two things. You can do a blow dryer and dry this off 5 or 10 minutes with a blow dryer, and you can go back and start working again. Or you can let this dry like 2 hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Or, anything after 2 or 3 hours, well, that's okay. So if you want to come back the next day and continue painting with this, that's fine. That will be perfect. or even a week later. You can come back a week later after this is all dry and continue painting, but you can't really go in and start painting for at least like an hour until it sort of really, the majority of this dries off on your first glazing. So that's the main thing. It has to dry at least an hour or two, or if you use a blow dryer, maybe 5-10 minutes, and that's it. After that, you can come back any time later and continue working on this. And that's about it. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. I'm going to use my blow dryer, so I'm coming back in about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll get started again, okay? Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so now we're back, and we're just having a great time here. We're doing the glazing technique, and actually, you kind of saw what we did here. We did the whole entire paper with a light wash of like purple and blue and green, more green down here, but some purple that mixed into the ground level here where there's the fields and hills. Now we're going to start with our darker tonal values, and we're going to use a different brush now. So we're going to use a smaller brush. Let's use this brush here, which is a 5/8 inch flat brush. So we'll just use this. I think this will do fine for some of the, anyway, we'll do this roof here with this. This looks like a good size to do the roof here. Maybe down here we can do this small shack. So let's try it out. So we have fresh, clean water. We go back in, and then we say, well, I kind of noticed that the roof on this building here is going to be like a reddish, orangey kind of red roof. So let's do that. Red and orange, red, orange. And let's get that in there. Maybe a little bit of brown. Maybe a touch of black too, just to get some good black dark in there. And let's do that. And these flat brushes really do wonders. You can really do a great job with architecture with flat brushes. And we'll go over here like this. And it's as simple as that. Okay, now, since this brush is quite large, let's shift down to a little smaller brush here. And these are all these are the Princeton Art and Brush Company synthetic watercolor brushes. So I'm just going to use these. And I'll use this smaller one now. This is like a number 6. I'm going to get those same colors. And let's do the lighthouse. Like that. And nothing too fancy. So we're just going to get the lighthouse area here. And then the top of the lighthouse. And if you need to use a small brush, you might want to use your stock brush you have with your Prang Oval 16 set, which is this one here, the stock brush that comes with the Oval 16. And then you can do some finer details with that. Look how great that works, like that. So this way you don't have to sweat out you can get some details on there like this. And even some railings. Look how good that looks. Like that. You get your railings in and some of your panes of glass on the lighthouse, like that. And you can even get some of the details of the welds. These are the rings of the lighthouse. They weld these large sections of the lighthouse together, like this. And then you can get some more paint here, and we can do some more like this here. Like that. perfect. And this way here we can do some of these windows here. And then this is a doorway here. Like that. So you have a doorway there. And you can continue on and you can do some more details here. So you can do your windows here, like so. And there's a little bit of a over there like that. That. So you can see I'm not really getting overly particular about any one detail. I'm just kind of moving through it kind of quickly. That's the brick or stonework along the bottom of the house here, like that. And then there's some roof shingles here on top of this section here, like that. And there's a little bit of a edge there. And what else do we have? We have a little bit of shadowing underneath the trim here along this gable edge here. So we just put a little bit there. Then we add a little more red here and some orange for the chimney, like that. Okay, so all things are looking good. You can even swale this up like that. Like that. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's keep working now. Let's do, there's some trim along this here. Like that. And what else do we have? Now we're ready for some darker tonal values for the hills and the grass here. So now we're going to pick up again our larger brush. And this is the 5/8 brush here. I think we can do that here. So let's get some crystal clear water. And we have our wash, which was brown, red, blue. Let's add some green to that. Brown and green, orange. Okay. And we're just going to make it a good looking greenish wash. And you know what? We're going to use the larger brush. We're going to use our 1-inch brush here, because we have a large area that we have to fill in here. So let's use our larger brush. And we'll just pick that green up like that. And let's just start getting this in here. There we go. And I'm just getting my washes on here. And I like to flow the brush strokes this way, like the hill, like this. Just like that. Like that. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to have even a little bit darker yet back here. Brown, purple and blue, green, brown, brown, purple, green. Okay, let's do a little darker wash here and see what happens. Perfect. Look how good that looks. There we go. And I'm just going to paint around my shack there. Pick up more paint that we've already mixed up. There we go. Looks great. Rinse off the brush, dry off a little bit, splash a little bit with some water, just to get a little bit of variation on there. Can even take a little bit of paper towel or tissue, blot up a little bit. This looks good. You have a little bit of variation in texture with your painting. There we go. Look how good that looks. There we go. Now we have some beautiful texture on our painting. We don't want it to look too much like a solid one kind of wash with nothing happening. Let's get that. A little bit of variation in there, a little splashing, a little blotting of with some tissues. And you can kind of see now we get some really interesting. You can use a little bit of scratching effects. Okay. Now, let's keep working because we have a dry watercolor paper, so we can continue working on this. Now we're going to do some orange. And we're just going to do an orangey kind of wash on this. Look how good that looks. There we go. So let's get that orange wash on this house. So I'm just using that orange wash along this here. Let's do some blue. Now if I add that blue into this section over here, you see how I'm using that blue. Then I have to introduce it into the rest of the painting, and we will do that in just a second. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with the lighthouse. Some of that orangey kind of warm. Okay. Let's do that same wash down here. That orangey kind of look there with a little bit of the blue. And a little bit of that blue too on the lighthouse. And then the last thing we have to do is we have to take a larger brush again, clean out, we're going to clean our water, we're going to empty the water and get fresh clean water. And then we're going to do a little more of this wash here. Remember, we always try to mention that if you're going to do some blue here, which we didn't do in the beginning of the painting, then we have to kind of add it to the rest of the painting. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just taking some of this blue that we used here in the building and in the lighthouse and in the shack. Just add a little bit of that blue. Cross hatch it into your painting, whatever you have to do. Fresh crystal clear water, and you get some of that blue. Like that. And you just make sure you get some of that into the painting too as well. And then even some into the grass here, into the hills. And then I blot up a little bit maybe, just to get a little bit of a, like that too. And that's enough that it really just all blends together and looks wonderful. And that's it. You have a finished painting here using the glazing technique. And then we can just lift up our tape. You'll see how great it looks. We have a little bit of a problem here with our tape. Not a problem at all. We have plenty of painting here that we don't have to worry about something like that. Okay, so we just take our tape off, like that. And we have plenty, if that rips like that on you, it's not a problem as long as you can you have your mat ready to go. And this is what we do. Like that. Does that not look good? Look how good that looks. Okay, like that. Perfect. Okay, so enjoy the glazing technique. It's so much fun. Have a great time with the glazing technique. Simple as that. Get the whole wash on first, the first light colors of your glazing. Get that done, let it dry. Either let it dry a couple hours or you blow dry it for 5 or 10 minutes. And then you go over and you do your darker tonal values, which are your roof, your details on the top of the lighthouse, and your hills here, your grass hills. And that's all you have to worry about. And then from that point, you know, we could do a little more details here to finish up, maybe a little more darks in these windows on the lighthouse. And, you know, you can do some touch-ups here and there. But for the most part, you have it. All right. We'll see you soon, everyone. I always mention, too, if you haven't been here before, this is your first time here, you can always subscribe on the right-hand side below. There's the subscribe button. Hit subscribe. This way you don't lose me. And this way you'll come back next week or, you know, in a week or two from now, when you open up YouTube, you'll see my paintings and my videos on your channel. YouTube will put them on there so you don't lose track of me, and you'll see that I've created a new video. So that's all that is. When you hit the subscribe button, it just makes sure that you won't lose track of my videos and our work here that we're doing. We're doing great work here every week, week after week, month after month, and year after year, creating beautiful paintings in watercolor. We do all kinds of techniques in watercolor. We cover all the methods, the techniques, all the processes that you need to do to progress in watercolor. So as long as you're sticking with my channel here and you're coming here week after week, month after month, and even year after year, you're going to learn watercolor 100%. So don't worry. Stick with us here. We're all working together. Many people already on my channel have achieved incredible results with the watercolor medium, and I know you will too, as long as you're just working with us here on a consistent basis. That's all that it is. A consistent work here with us together, and you will have a great time of watercolor. You'll enjoy the journey of watercolor. You'll have a great time and have lots of fun, and we're always here together again every week, every month after month, and even year after year. We're always here for you, so you can just come and join us and paint along with us and draw, and we're having a great time. So we'll see you next time. And I also like to put a little bit of a quick plug in for my book. So I just created a new book, everybody, and it's just out. I'm trying to find it here in my studio. I might have to run across my studio to find it. And here it is. Watercolor Methods for Success. I just created this new book. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's on Amazon. All you got to do is just go to Amazon, type in Chris Petri watercolor book, and it's right there. And it's a great book. It covers everything that I do in watercolor. It's tons of beautiful pictures that you can paint from and paint, you know, basically work from my paintings right from this book. It's got great all kinds of portrait work if you like to do portraits, landscapes, seascapes, cityscapes, boat scenes, beach scenes, lighthouses, pubs. We have city scenes. Again, you know, seascapes with city scenes, farm scenes. We have gorgeous architecture, flowers, tons of flowers. We have a lot of flower paintings in this book. So you have plenty of things to work on. I cover all the techniques, all the colors that I use, how I paint each painting, the drawing that you need to do. We cover all the pencil drawings for each painting. So you'll see here in this book exercises that you can practice to get better at your brushwork. My palettes, I cover all my colors of my palettes, color swatches, how to figure out what colors you're going to use, design methods to creating your paintings so that your paintings look wonderful and pleasing and pleasant. And then we have, again, all my materials, my tools, my pencils, my paints, everything, all-in-one book. So I hope you'll check this book out. It's on Amazon. Again, just type in Chris Petri Watercolor Book. And you can even type in the full name too, Watercolor Methods for Success, with my name, Chris Petri, and you'll find my book. If you'd like to check it out, maybe you'd like to purchase it again, because if you're going to work on my paintings here on my YouTube channel, this is a great book to have with you as you work along with me, because you'll definitely have all the necessary information that you'll need, which again is all of my brushes, colors, palettes, papers, everything. Okay, all right. We'll see you on the next video, and thanks again for watching. Thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.